welcome to another video. It's been a while. You see I'm in a new location. I've got all my Ghostbuster stuff behind me, my guitars and stuff. Moved desk again, out of the living room where this time of year it's really warm in there when we close the door, so we're using that space in there. This, where I am now, was where we kind of had our living area during the summer where it's nice and cool. So today we're looking at the Lightroom blur function. Now if you've got the latest version of Lightroom, you will have the early access, which I just imagine is going to become the actual blur. I don't see them changing very much because it's actually quite good. There are flaws. It's been out for a couple of months now and I haven't been able to do a video because I haven't really had the time. I've been doing a lot of stuff, photography related, cosplay related, charity stuff. Just been busy like every weekend. It's just been absolutely manic. I've been ill through all that as well. The weddings, so much going on. It's been crazy, but it's been good. You know, I thrive with the pressure of all that kind of stuff. So I'm going to look at a picture today that actually was taken on a charity event that we did for Portsmouth Ghostbusters. I won Portsmouth Ghostbusters. I'm a Ghostbuster. You see my pack behind me. We did an event actually just this weekend, just gone, raised money for Cancer Research, which is our chosen charity at the moment. And this picture is of my wife Samantha as Zool and my very good friend Martin as Tully. And you can see they're having loads of fun. We're really good friends, and Martin's an absolutely amazing chap. Love the guy to bits. And this picture is actually really, really good because there's many layers in this picture. You see, you've got Ecto 1 behind them. There's people there. Then you've got the buildings. But that's Casa Brazil, which is actually a really nice place to go. I only went there recently. But I'll tell you what, if you like meat, if you're a meat lover like me and you like to eat lots of food, it's expensive, but you can eat whatever you like, as much as you like, and stay there as long as you like. And you get your money's worth. It's really, really good. And then you've got like the balcony and the other layers, and we can see in the early access lens blur kind of panel. There's a few things in there you're going to want to be looking at, because you probably find the refine. You don't see the refined details down the bottom here initially, but open it up. It really does make a massive difference because you can mess around with what you want in focus, what you want out of focus, all that kind of stuff. And I'm going to go through this relatively quickly because it's probably going to evolve in the next few months. I'll probably do another video. So let's get into this. We've got the picture right here, and I've done no other editing to this. Actually, I think it was edited. I'm lying. It was edited. This is the edited version of that. I don't think I have the raw file. It's taken on my phone, I think. So it is just a JPEG is what it is. But I've re-imported it into Lightroom. And if you come down the panel on the right-hand side here, you will see the new early access lens blur. If you don't see that, just update your Lightroom. It should be there. And this is Lightroom Classic, by the way. So all we need to do really, let's go through this, is hit the apply button. That's going to do some stuff in the background. It's probably going to take a little bit of time. It has got to check with the servers at the Adobe end of stuff and do all kinds of bits and pieces at their end before it actually does this. I've already actually had to play around with this already, so I've done that relatively quickly. But if you've got a slow computer or if your connection to the internet is really slow, that may take a bit of time. But don't worry, just stick with it, it'll be fine. The first slide you got up here is to blur them out, quite simply. If you want less blur in the background, you'll see it disappears. You want more, it gets more. That's really, really simple, right? And for me, personally, I'm looking at what potentially is natural. I mean, this is a phone shot, but I'm trying to make this shot look like I've used a really nice wide aperture lens, like maybe an 85, or in this case, because it's quite wide, maybe like a 35 1.4. I'm not going to get that much blur because the distance I am from the subject and the subject to the background. It's going to probably look something a little bit more like that, really, realistically. You can push a bit further, but it looks quite natural. The only problems I foresee here is when you've got a lot of detail around things like hair. So look at this. The banisters up there, see the banisters? Because there's hair there, and it knows there's hair there, it doesn't distinguish between the background and the hair. And as far as I can, and I think the writing on the behind Samantha's hair there. Now that's just really to be expected. There's a few things we can do in a minute that we can try and fix it up. It's not going to be perfect, but it's actually, I think, not that bad. And when we look at the other feature in a second, you'll see what I mean, how we can play around with. So the next thing, let's just come out of there a second. The next thing we see here is the panel of bokeh or bokeh, depending on where you are in the world. So we have some different things now. Now what this is the shape of the light sources behind that are going to give you the kind of bokeh. We don't see a lot of bokeh in this image because there's no real like light source that's going to bounce at us. If we had a light in the background there, the current bokeh would be perfectly round, if you like. If we have a mess around with this, you may not, you do see a bit of difference, mainly around things like the white. So if I zoom in here, you see that the bokeh, the look of the blur changes shape. And if we had an actual light source behind us, it would be even more prevalent. It would be a lot more. You'd notice it more, is what I'm trying to say. Excuse me, I got a cold. So that's another really simple thing here. We've got a boost function here. I don't know why they bother putting this in, really. It doesn't really do much unless you're looking at something like really bright light. So I can boost the bokeh of that. I don't know whether it does a huge amount. It's doing stuff in the windows here, look. So if you look there, excuse my wife's half-naked legs there. You can see it's doing something. That is the trim around the door is silver, so it's picking up a lot of light. So it's boosting that kind of light. But in this case, doesn't do a whole lot. You see the shape change in the kind of light source there. And if I boost it, that's mainly like in the real highlight areas. It's going to boost that. But to be fair, I'm not really going to be bothering that kind of stuff. My main bokeh is going to be the first one. I like that round, proper 85mm 1.8 on my Sony G Master. It's proper round. I mean, it's proper round. You see some maybe slightly less expensive lenses will be more hexagonal shape or oval shape, like the last one there, which is probably from a much cheaper lens. And I don't mean to you know, be all kind of funny about the lens. I've got a nice 85mm lens. Sorry. And that's the kind of shape I get, is the round shape. So I'm not too worried about boosting that at this time. Now the focal range is very important here. Now before we look at this, what I want you to do is hit the visualize depth, because this now gives us a depth map. What it's telling me here is inside this box is what's in focus. So the color of the visualize depth map, which in this case is the whites and the yellows, are going to be in focus. I can move that point if I want to. The car is in purple here. See, the car's in purple. So if I move this up, I can get the car. And then if I turn that off, the visualize depth, my wife is out of focus. The car's in focus. Most of Brazil, the building in the background's in focus. But you see, I can move that map now. I can have a play with that. So I've turned visualize back on and put this back down and off again. I'll show you that the subject is now in focus. I can move this range, so if you watch the depth of field in the background move into what would be the sort of this area, you can see it moving. See that moving back? Bosh, 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 bosh. And then we can just have, the car in focus and the building slightly out of focus. But don't forget, we can boost this. So if we go up to the blur amount and blur that some more, and boost it some more, you get the building slightly more out of focus. Obviously, you've got to remember it's all relative. So if you move that focal plane back further, the stuff that is now in focus, actually the range of that actually is relative. So it moves with it as well. So everything behind that becomes more in focus. But we're looking at just our subject in focus. We may have gone too far there. Let's just move that back ever so slightly. I do see around here, because the dress is red, it's not quite picking up around where the No Ghost logo is on the car. Look at that. How strange is that? But we can have a play. But we're going to play with that in a second, because we now have some refined functions. So let's say we're happy with that. That's nicely out of focus in the background. We've got a nice depth of field. If we want to bring the foreground blurry, we can move this this way. So let's do the visualize thing again. Let's move this. And you see it starts becoming yellow down there. The shoe's becoming yellow. In fact, the body's on our, you know, white reveals, black, or the colour in this case conceals or makes it blurry, if you like. If we go too far, we start getting the red dress. So Samantha and Martin are becoming out of focus, but we just bring that in ever so slightly. We now have the foreground here starting to become out of focus. It's really clever. The depth map on this is actually quite intuitive. Sometimes doesn't always work, so it depends on the kind of picture you've got, the kind of detail you've got between your subject and the background, or whatever's in your foreground, that kind of stuff. But the good thing is you can move that focal plane around. It is really intuitive, and if you're getting to grips with the visualization depth, or I call it a depth map, because that's what I'm kind of used to, because I'm kind of used to using depth maps. You can sort of really go to town on what you want in focus, what you want out of focus, and really delve into it. It's really clever. So let's turn that off and come down to the refine function. It's probably going to be like that. You're probably not going to see it by default. So just hit this little arrow there, and this now opens up. So we can now start playing around with stuff. So we decide whether we want to have a brush that's going to make things more in focus. If something out of focus that you want in focus, you can have a play around with that. In this case, I want to blur stuff around Samantha's backside. Sorry, babe. So I want to take a blur there. And then we've got certain stuff down here. So we've got amount of blur. I'm going to say 100%. Why it doesn't just go from 0 to 100, I don't know. Whatever. Size of the brush. Obviously, we want a fairly small brush. How much feather? Do we want a lot of feather? Do we not? Actually, with Samantha being in focus, the curvature of her backside is nice and sharp. So we don't want to add too much feather to that, because that's just going to bleed into the dress, right? Then we can have a best amount. And then flow. So the flow is like normal flow. So if you want to just do this once, keep the flow to 100%. If you want to build up on this, bring the flow down and just do a few passes over the area. So let me just take it, for instance, come down to like 20%. We'll zoom into this area here that I'm not too happy with, and blur. Actually, it's not too bad. And use the blur here and around there. It's kind of bleeding in the No Ghost logo in the background, but not as much as it was, funnily enough. And I've just, you know, I'm using the trackpad here. I'm using 2 fingers, which is actually making, instead of moving around the subject, because I've got this all open, it's actually changing the size of my brush. But I don't want to do that. So let's open up the navigator and navigate this up to another area there. So I want to blur a little bit of that. And it's not enough, so I'm just going to bring the flow right up to 100. You'll see a massive difference there. There you go. See that? Let's just blur whatever that is there. And this might not make a difference when you're zoomed in like this. When you zoom out, it's probably going to do a little bit more than you probably realise. This is go around the dress a little bit. We can blur a little bit more around the legs. Bring the flow down now, because it's starting to get to an area where it's not that. It's not going to be that thing. So in this area here, I don't know why this isn't blurred like it is. Let's just blur this bit here. And you can go to town with this. I'm doing this very quickly, by the way. I would usually spend a lot more time doing this than what I am currently at the moment. But if you see where the blur amount kind of starts down here, and it's not blurry up here. So let's bring our flow down, make our brush a bit bigger, and blur some more of this. Probably too much, but whatever. We're just playing. You can go to town. And funny enough, that's about right on the other side there, give or take. Let's come out. Yeah, that'll do it. That's not too bad. It's not as blurry this side for some strange reason. I don't know why. Let's add a teeny bit of blur back in this area over here. Build it up, because I'm using the flow quite low. So I'm just I'm passing over it a few times with the brush. That's all I'm doing. Just adding a bit of blur down there. And the main one here is the hair. The hair, let's come out to 100%. So let's go flow up quite a bit and mount back to 100. And let's have a look around here. Now I'm actually going to bring the feather up a fair bit here and go for a smaller brush. Let's feather that quite a bit wide up actually. And just bring that in around the hair. I'm going to lose some hair here. This is going to be the problem. We are going to lose hair. But not a huge amount we can do about it. We just want to make sure that the blur looks right. And it currently doesn't because there are bits of wood sticking out the top of my wife's head. You know, what are you going to do? Let's just blur that a bit more there. So we get some nice blur in there. We can go smaller. Just get some blur inside the hair there. Just give it something a little bit extra. It all looks a bit too sharp at the top here, so let's blur that a little bit more. And it's just literally about having to play around. This just needs to be blurred right out. See you later. Don't like that. Just have a mess around. It's quite intuitive, but it's just picking up the hair. Now you see all this brickwork between the two of them is in focus because there's a lot going on there. There's hair there, there's these wires. It can't quite distinguish between them. So let's bring the flow down a little bit and go in here with a relatively small brush and just get rid of some of this stuff. Let's bring the flow back up again because it's not enough. I'm going to bring the brush in a little bit there. Brush, brush, brush. Don't know why I'm saying brush, brush, brush. But, you know, just give it the look that it should have. Get between that there. Wherever you see something that just looks too sharp, and it shouldn't be sharp because everything else around it is nicely bokeh. You just need to get in there and just give it a welly with your brush. And just determine how much flow you need. It is literally really that simple, and I love the effect it gives. It's really good. I like it. I don't know what to tell you. There's something about it that is just really, really nice and simple to use. If you're on a phone and most phones still only have one aperture, it's usually quite it's determined to be quite a wide aperture, but it's not really. It's all done with like software and stuff, and it's not really aperture like we know it in cameras. It's not like something you'll find on a lens. But this is now going to give you an opportunity to go back to some of your pictures and go, do you know what? That could do with a bit of blur in the background. Let's make it look like I've taken that with a 35 1.4 or an 85 1.8. You know, those really nice lenses that cost £2 to go and buy that you haven't got the money for. Now you can quite simply hit a few buttons and be there. Listen, this is all going to update. This is really simple stuff. It's not fantastic. There are flaws, obviously, but there's so much you can do with it and have a play around. And most people don't even know it popped in there. I know 1 or 2 months ago. To be fair with you, I didn't even know myself. That's how busy I've been over the last few months. This right up to Christmas for me has just been crazy busy. It's been really good. I know a lot of you have been coming to some of my workshops, so thank you those people who have been on my workshops. If you want to see my workshops, there's a link to my website in the description. I've got workshops. I do free photo walks around my local area, which is Portsmouth, south of England, on the south coast. Come along. They're really, really good. They're good fun. Some of them are just literally go to location and we're there for a sunrise and you don't go very far. Other ones are a walk around Portsmouth, which is really very popular. All the building architecture, all that kind of stuff. When the lights come on at night, it's a really, really nice place to be and take some really nice pictures, look-ups and stuff like that. It's really, really good. So check the link in the description of this video to see if you want to join me. And with that in mind, thank you for watching. I'll see you on another video really, really soon. Don't forget to subscribe if you're not already. Hit the notification bell to get updates every time I upload a video. Whack a thumbs up as well. The thumbs up really help. And leave a comment down below. Comments really help my videos. And I always answer every comment. Doesn't matter what it is, positive or negative. You might hate my stuff, but I'm still going to tell you that I appreciate you watching my videos. Take care, guys and girls. And I'll see you on another one. See you later.